All right, so CPR, what I want you guys to do every time y'all practice the AED CPR, I want you to use the National Registry sheet. Go ahead and get used to going straight down that list every time so that it gets ingrained in you when you're practicing this skill. This is no different than what you went over with EMT Basic. I'm going to just go straight down the line with it, but then there's a few little tidbits I want to throw in. What is it you do when you get on the scene? All right, BSI, scene safe, right? They're going to give you some kind of scenario where a patient is now unconscious or not responding and there's no trauma involved. All right, so you know that at this point that there's no trauma, so you're going to go up and you're going to ask what of the crowd around you? Did anybody see anything? And they'll tell you, oh, this man just passed out. Okay, so then what do you do? Okay. Sir, ma'am, can you hear me? Then check for a pulse. This is one of the tidbits. Notice where I'm checking for a pulse. Carotid, but not just there, on the side that I'm on. Don't reach across and do it from this side. Okay, that's a big deal actually nowadays. They've realized that doing it this way gives you a false feel at times, and you're pressing all this stuff up against the patient. Do it from the same side you're on. So you feel for a pulse. You're also going to look, listen, see if there's any signs of breathing. If there's no breathing, then what do you do?
You get an AED.
You, go get me an AED and call 911. And then you go into your CPR, right? Now, CPR, I'm going to tell you this. Folks always try to give you these different landmarks. It's real simple. If I've seen anything done wrong, it's these two things. One, they put the hand too low. What's down here at the bottom of the chest?
Sternum.
It is the sternum, but what is the sternum end in? There's a little bone, the xiphoid process, that little bone. I see folks that way down here. Get up in the center of the chest. They say use the nipple line. I understand everybody's not anatomically the same, so get in the center of that sternum. Think about where the heart would be in that chest. Get straight on top of that sternum. The other thing is, I see folks all the time, I see them doing out here doing like this. Dude, if you've never had to do CPR on somebody, this is going to last about 2 minutes, and L1 through L5 is going to hate your guts. Get up close to that patient. Get your knees right up on them. Now what you're doing is you're taking a lot of that torque and bend out of your back, and you're putting all the pressure right here. I just go straight on top, and it's straight up and down. That is your goal. You want it to be like a piston. You want that heart to be pumping like this. When you're hitting it from the side, this is what's happening with your heart. It's not compressing. You got to get right on top to compress. And it's not like this. It's this. What's your compression? What's your desired compression rate per minute?
100 to 120.
100 to 120. So you've got to be cranking and count out loud when you get a partner here. It's not a bad idea to count out loud for yourself, but count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can go 30, 2 breaths. 30, 2 breaths. Okay? You're going to keep that cycle going. Make sure you have good form. The closer you are to that patient, straight over the top, the better the compression is going to be, the less work it's going to be on your back. You're going to do this until somebody shows up. Ronald, this is your cue. He comes in, he's like, dude, I got this AED. So what would you do?
I would swap out with you.
So you could come in, I'd say, okay, hang on 1 second. I get to my 30, boom. Now you're on it. He starts to, you do the breath, and he's going to start doing that while you get your AED out ready to go. That's a very deep compression. That's a very deep compression. All right, so when you take this out, what do I do first? Do I plug it in or do I turn it on? Turn it on first. Turn it on. Meanwhile, somebody could be putting these in place, right? Actually, that one goes down here. That one goes up there. Remember, I always put them like this. Sideways across, wrapped around, and this one kind of up and out that way. So it's going to be just like this. You got that thing turned on. Of course, the batteries are dead. That's natural because we're in a testing situation. Then it's going to tell you to plug it in. You plug it in. Yeah, it ain't going to work. And it'll give you some prompts. And it will say, no longer touch the patient. Analyzing rhythm. And then it'll do its thing, and then it'll say, shock advised. And then at that point, remember, whenever it starts analyzing, you can't touch the patient. Then it's going to do its charge. And then when it's done to the charge and you're ready to shock, what do you do? Clear. Look, I want to see y'all doing this. Be very deliberate. Clear, nobody touch. Everybody back. Shock. What do you do as soon as you shock?
Go back to see if
Directly, immediately, right back to compressions. 30 and 2. When do you check for a pulse again?
After your
5
30.
cycles.
After 2 minutes or 5 cycles.
Yeah.
After 2 minutes or 5 cycles, this will prompt you and say it's been 2 minutes. Then you feel for a pulse. If you don't feel a pulse, it's going to start analyzing a rhythm again. But if you feel a pulse, if you can legit feel a pulse, it shouldn't say shock advised, because it only shocks a pulseless rhythm. It's supposed to. All right, any questions on it? Practice it just like that every single time. Good job, by the way. Everybody's very impressed. All right.
The 2 rhythms you do are VTAC and pulseless. Oh wait, hold on. VFib and pulseless VTAC, right?
That is correct. Those are the only 2 that will ever be shocked in the sense of defibrillation. Defibrillation is different than cardioversion, which you guys do not need to know about right now. But I will tell you this much. We're going to go over 12 lead after lunch. And you will be taught in the class a handful of rhythms. Stuff that you will probably be able to, it's not hard to understand it. And since you're going to be able to put folks on 12 leads, you'll be able to see it in the field. Normal sinus rhythm. Asystole. What is asystole? Asystole is a flat line. VFib, which is just, and then VTAC is a unique rhythm. It's very regular. And then PEA, which is just a organized rhythm, but there's no heart rate. So you guys will be taught that through the class. You don't have to diagnose those rhythms, but it's just something for you to pay attention to, because you will be putting people on 12 leads. CPR, you don't have to know any of that stuff. You do the CPR, you put them on the AED, it tells you everything you need to do. Any questions on what we've done so far? Good. Here's what we got after lunch. We're going to do 12 lead placement, and we're going to do medical patient assessment review, and then everybody will break off and you will practice. Everybody will do all the stations. So, there are no questions. What time is it? Man, I'm so good. Well, I tell you, when I say we go lunch, I say 11:30 every day. Man, if I had football, I'd spike it. I swear I would. That's good right there, boy.